Hey everyone, it's Denise Brown from the Caregiving Years Training Academy. Thank you so much for your interest in our training programs. I'm going to give you an overview today. And when we end, I'm going to invite you to schedule a one-on-one phone call with me so I can learn more about your goals and how our training programs can help you achieve them. Today, I'm going to give you an overview that'll last about 30 minutes, and it really is broad strokes. There's so much to the training programs. I wanted to give you enough to think about, what's possible for me? And then we'll do a deeper dive when we speak one-on-one. Okay, so a little bit about me. I started an online community for family caregivers in 1996, which I sold in 2020. I actually started working with family caregivers in 1990 and was fascinated by their stories. I'm a writer. The stories of caregiving just really spoke to me. And I've been listening to those stories for the past 30 plus years. And I will tell you that I can never tire of listening to the stories. It's so compelling to me. So the Certified Caregiving Consultant Training was the first program I launched, and that was in 2016. In addition, I also help my parents who are 89 and 86, and they live nearby. My niece also helps, so we have a team that keeps them in a good place, fingers crossed. So I always like to add what our programs are not at the very beginning so you understand what we don't do. So we don't certify certified nursing assistants or home health aides. We also are not specific about a disease process. And for the most part, we don't offer logistics about how to start a business because there's great resources in your community through your small business association. So here's what we do. So our training programs equip you with insights around the caregiving experience. That's what we're specific about. That individual who helps and worries about and cares for a family member. How do we support them? So it's all about that family caregiver. It also is a way for us to support the former family caregiver because we have, for instance, support groups that you could turn into grieving support groups. So we look at what are the opportunities that you could create from your personal caregiving experience. It could be that you start a small business or you just decide that you want to volunteer. In addition, you might be looking at our training programs because you already have a business or you already serve family caregivers and you want to enhance your programming and services. And our training programs can help you do that. So ultimately, we are specialists in the practice of family caregiving. So it's very important to know that we really focus on the family caregiver, their life, their day, their experiences, their situation, their impact. So more than 200 individuals have enrolled in our consultant training program. We've had consultants from 5 different countries. Currently, we have CCCs in 4 countries. So we help you make a difference. Lead a support group, add services to your small business, add services in your workplace for family caregivers, and add services to your own business, your employer, or your social service agency to help family caregivers. I added master classes over the past few years. So if you want to start with a low cost entry point, our master classes are perfect because you get an idea as to my perspective on the caregiving experience. And it's an easy investment. And then you can decide based on how you like the master class. If you think, you know what, I want to go to the next level, I want to take another training program. You could also look at our advocate training. That helps you put your message out into the world. You can watch a 1-hour training and then complete an exam, and then you become a certified caregiving advocate. And that's a low entry point too in terms of cost. Our facilitator training is as it sounds. It helps you lead support groups. We really focus on the conversation that you cultivate with family caregivers and former family caregivers. And I share how to manage challenges that might come up during a support group meeting. I've been leading support groups, both in person and virtually, since 1996. So I share what I've learned. And I share the techniques that I know work because I've been using them and I see that they work. Our specialist training is to help you become a virtual assistant for family caregivers. The specialist training is perfect if you are still in a caregiving experience, you've adjusted to that experience, and you want to do something on a part-time basis to bring in a little extra money. That's a perfect training program for you. The consultant training is typically for someone who already works with family caregivers and wants to add consulting services to what they do, or it's perfect for that former family caregiver who says, I want to make a difference. I saw how hard it was for me. I want it to be easier for someone else. And then they want to start a small business and they want to add consulting services. Our consulting training program is very similar to a life coach training program. I really teach you how to be a coach for family caregivers. And I use skills that I learned when I went through life coach training in 2004. When I went through that training, which lasted about 6 months and cost me at that time $5,000, I learned all these exercises and techniques and tools. And honestly, I use one now, and that's a communication strategy that I teach in the consultant training, because that communication strategy is what I saw really minimize a family caregiver stress. And it was what I used to create a trusted space so the family caregiver would tell me honestly about what's going on in their life, so the family caregiver could also hear what the solution is that would work for them. In many ways, what we do is create this safe space, which gives the opportunity for the family caregiver to talk out what's going on. And then when the family caregiver talks out their problem, they hear their own solution because they're not so stressed out and because they feel understood. So that's really what I teach in that consultant training. I also share insights that are so helpful that help you understand why it might take a while for a family caregiver to add in a solution that they know will work. And that's part of our masterclass course called the Family Caregiver's House of Cards. We look at what does a family caregiver bring into the caregiving experience? What has happened in their past that will impact their ability to process a change today so that we can be compassionate and patient with that family caregiver. If you enroll in the silver level of the consultant training, you could also move into the educator training. You've learned how to deliver a concept I developed in 1997, which stages the caregiving experience. As an educator, you receive this turnkey presentation, which you can deliver virtually or in person. You receive 3 different versions of the workshops. So there's 3 different ways you can present it. And then during the training, I offer additional ways to tweak the content. I see individuals who go through the consultant and educator training going out quickly into the marketplace because they have a turnkey presentation, which is very helpful with their marketing. They are ready to offer their presentation, which they offer for free because it's a lead generator, but they have this presentation that's ready to go so they can start delivering workshops online, through their local library virtually, through other organizations within their community. It's just nice because it's that additional piece that puts you out there ready to go in the world. And you don't have to try to create it and then wonder and doubt. You've got a program that's ready to go that you know is good, because I've been delivering the program since 1997. So just a historical perspective on our training. So I first developed the consultant training in 2016, and then I updated the material in 2018. And I added what we call skills consultants. And these are certified caregiving consultants that deliver one-on-one support and help with our skills to our training participants. They're like mentors, and they've been through the program. They're out in the world doing their good work. So they're a great connection for students, not only to practice skills, but also to get support about going out into the world as a consultant. In addition, I added what we call our tools for the facilitator and consultant training. And our tools are our wheels. And that was something else that I borrowed from my life coach training. Life coaches will use a life wheel that's categorized with social and faith and money, could be work, could be family, and you decide where you want to focus your goals, like what category of your life do you want to work on. So I use those to create our wheels, and our wheels are these amazing conversation starter. What's great about the wheels is there are words on the wheels that resonate with the family caregiver. So immediately when they see that tool, they feel understood. And there's one of them. There's about 40 plus different wheels, and they're all specific to an emotion or a circumstance. There are some team wheels, for instance. So I believe every worry needs a plan. So there's a worry wheel and there's a plan wheel. So our consultants can work one-on-one with clients and help them pinpoint a worry and then create a plan. In addition, these are great marketing tools because you could lead a virtual meeting using these wheels. And they also are great for support groups. So they're part of the facilitator training as well. So in 2019, I enhanced the training by adding the Advocate, Facilitator, and Specialist training program. And then I created a robust package of the Consultant, Facilitator, and Educator training programs and included time management training and marketing help. And the marketing bootcamp is fabulous because it really equips you with a great marketing program and excellent messaging to take out into the world. I like to be productive. I feel effective with my time management skills. And so I teach you how to be effective and how to create and produce. And then last year we made some additional changes. Our certifications are offered through Accredible, meaning that once you become certified, your certificate is on Accredible, which makes it easy to share on social media, which is great. And then our first two master classes were the Caregiving Experience and our Caregiving Fatigues. The Caregiving Experience walks you through the 6 stages of caregiving, and the Fatigues is my perspective on compassion fatigue during caregiving. I feel like compassion fatigue is an umbrella term. We have to get very specific about what wears us out. We talk about those specifics in the Caregiving Fatigues Masterclass. I updated the training material again. So since it's launched in 2016, we've updated twice. So I like it to be relevant, I like it to be current, and I like it to be timely. In addition, we added 2 more skills consultants. One helps with case management. We can do light case management as consultants. And the other consultant helps with the sales process. How do you deliver an effective complimentary session and then move the client into a sales process and feel good about it? Because that is intimidating. We also worry a little bit about selling to family caregivers, and I will tell you it's a good thing to do. Family caregivers like to have their own consultant. It makes them feel good. And when there's value to that, and that exchange of money creates value, it's a good thing. I also added a family emergency planning tool, which has been phenomenal. And we actually turned this into a lead generating activity that happens on the 4th Friday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself and other certified caregiving consultants do this for free, where we help family caregivers think about what's the plan for their worries. And we all worry about the next emergency. So by the end of the 60-minute meeting, family caregivers have the start of a plan. And they're invited, if they'd like, to continue that planning process by scheduling a one-on-one consult for a fee with a certified caregiving consultant. And then last year, I also added a couple different services that certified caregiving consultants, which I call CCCs, can add to their library of services that they offer. Healing listeners, just was so apparent that We are all hurting and we need someone to hear the pain. So healing listeners offer 30-minute sessions where, in essence, they say, tell me what hurts, and then you just listen. Legacy listeners are for former family caregivers to share the stories of caregiving and the stories of their carees. It's a way to put closure around that caregiving experience. After caregiving ends, we have time to process. Often what happens though is we're processing alone. And this is an opportunity to be with a consultant who gets it and share the stories. And then resilience reflections are actually an opportunity again to connect for 30 minutes with a consultant, and the consultant reflects the resilience that he or she hears from a client. We can feel so beaten down by the system, by the day, by our experiences. It's so helpful to be reminded that we are resilient. And during that resilience reflecting session, the CCC says, here's where I heard your resilience. Oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Thank you for telling me that. It's energizing. And then in 2021, I added 3 more master classes. I already talked about the House of Cards. The other one is resilience, where we talk about what's the family caregiver's resilience and how do we help them keep it. And then grieving after caregiving. I added another turnkey presentation to our educator program, and that's the daily healing plan. It's powerful. And what's great about this workshop is that it could be a quick 10-minute or it could be 60 minutes. And I think when we are healing through a particular loss with a strategy that helps us in order to get to a better place. And that healing plan is all about naming the loss, naming the strategy, and naming where we want to go with it. Where do we want to land? Typically, it's to find peace or love or forgiveness. It's typically we want to go to an emotion that feels better. And so that's now part of the educator program. And when you become an educator, you have the Caregiving Year 6 Stages to a Meaningful Journey as a turnkey presentation, and then the daily healing plan. Okay, so then I started thinking about how to make sure the consultant training meets your needs, regardless of what your needs are. So for instance, you might have been working with family caregivers for years, and you think, I want to add a consulting program. I want to add consulting services. So you don't need help with marketing. And you might feel like, you know what, I like the idea of a skills consultant, but I'm a pretty independent spirit. I can go through this training without that additional help. And that's the bronze level, which is the lower level pricing. The silver level is perfect if you're going to start a small business, add consulting services, and you want help with marketing, and you want to be connected to mentors. The silver level is perfect for you. You'll receive extra help with the new skills you're going to learn. You'll receive ideas and practical tips for your marketing plan, and you'll feel like at the end of the program, you are ready to go. We have been approved to offer CEUs for certain professions, including nurses, certified dementia practitioners, and certified senior advisors. In addition, in Illinois, we have additional healthcare professionals who can earn CEUs, and the information is on the website. So why become certified? It's a profession. We are creating a profession that speaks to the practice of family caregiving. It's accountable, and it separates you from the competition. In addition, I teach you what I've learned over 30 years. So in a matter of about 60 to 70 hours, I've condensed that 30 years of insight into those 50, 60 hours it will take you to go through the training program. I have spent pretty much every day over the past 30 years listening to family caregivers, and I've taken all those insights and really condensed them so that you feel completely empowered, that you understand that caregiving experience. I really do believe that family caregivers deserve the best help, and I've really worked to create the best training program so that when a family caregiver connects with a certified caregiving consultant, they are connecting with the best. They've connected with an individual who values investment in knowledge, who values investment in relevance, being timely, being up to date about what's happening in the world that's impacting family caregivers. That's our program. So when the pandemic started, we made a few adjustments to the information, the training. I created I guess it was 3 meetings that I held that talked about how hospitals were changing their discharge process, as well as how some typical regulations through Medicare were changing so that consultants would be up to date about what was changing because of the pandemic. In June of last year, we added another module, another piece to one of our modules around ensuring that our consultants understand systemic racism and how it impacts family caregivers. I am not positive, but I'm going to guess that we are one of the only training programs out there that looks at that piece, that makes it part of the core curriculum, that we are so focused on ensuring that every family caregiver connects to someone who gets it, that we've added training around that. It's compelling training as well. It's real life. One of our consultants created that piece within our module and shares her experience caring for her father-in-law. She's a woman of color. Her father-in-law was white, and she talks about all the racism that she experienced as a family caregiver. She also expresses her experiences with racism as a patient in the healthcare system. So you might think, well, who's right for this? So I do think you have to have some personal caregiving experience because that's the passion that's going to drive you. You also could be passionate about serving family caregivers, and that will drive you too. It is important that you are compassionate. Now, that won't be a surprise to you, but it's also really important that you are open-minded and that you are curious. I believe family caregivers are our teachers. So when I'm working with a family caregiver who's a client, they are teaching me about their experience. I am learning from them so that when I offer a suggestion, an idea, a resource, it's perfect. Okay, it's most appropriate. Perfect was a little bit egotistical, but it's most appropriate for their individual situation. If you've had a caregiving experience, it's helpful to have peace about it. Pretty much everyone who's gone through the training program enhances their peace about their own experience too, because it's this opportunity to really process the experience and talk about it, feel validated about it, and to get some answers to questions that they might have had about it. The reason that it's important to have peace about your own caregiving experience is then you show up fully present for your clients. When your clients are telling you about their experience, you're listening to their experience rather than thinking about, well, this sounds like me and this is how it was for me. And when I had that happen, if you have peace, you've let go. And that's so important when you're working with family caregivers because you want to be fully present to their story. It's not a combination of your story with their story. It's their story only. What you are bringing, though, is an insight and a knowledge base and a wisdom about the caregiving experience that will be invaluable to your client. You know, we talk about a language that family caregivers speak and how we know when someone's not a family caregiver because they're not speaking the same language. Your clients will know that you've had a personal caregiving experience because you're going to speak the language. And that creates that trusted space. And we want to talk to people who get it because we've had too many experiences with people who don't. We are tired of that. We are beaten down because of that. We want to talk to someone who gets it. I always like to remind everybody that this is hard work. Anytime you're starting something new, it is hard. If you are launching a small business, that is hard work. I launched my first small business in 1995. It is hard work. It's hard work. I think of a caregiving experience as being lonely. Being in business for yourself is lonely. In addition to all the insights I share, all the tools that I've created that I know will be helpful for you, in addition to all the wisdom that I share with you, you'll also benefit from being a part of a community that's passionate about this experience and a community that wants you to do well. As in addition, we want you to be successful. It's very important to all of us that we all are successful. We work together, we support each other, we cheer each other on. And that's the community. I also hold regular events, and consultants have the opportunity to participate in these events. It's great because it puts you out there, but you're out there with friends. It's risky to go out and give a presentation virtually or in person. And it's nice if you have people who are cheering you on, who want you to be successful. So I invite consultants to be a part of these conferences. We just did the Caring Conference, Our Resilient Spirit, and attendees loved it. So we're going to do the Caring Conference virtually in the spring and fall every year. And in the fall of 2021, our theme is our courageous acts. And so we're going to do 25-minute workshops sharing our insights about courage. We had a virtual CCC conference in the spring of this year. CCCs, I'm trying to count how many there are, but how many presented, but I'm not able to do that quickly. So I'm just going to tell you that CCCs volunteered to present something that they do that they think other consultants could benefit from knowing about. So one of our consultants presented on how to create a workshop for adult learners. Another consultant gave a refresher on our communication strategies. Another consultant talked about how she started an online course and enrolled people in the course. And those presentations were 25 minutes. And now I believe in 25-minute presentations. I thought, what the heck, let's do it for 25 minutes for each presentation. That way we can get out a lot of information in 3 hours, and it worked out great. So for our next Caring Conference, we're going to do 25-minute presentations. A couple times a year, I do a workshop that's called Our Big Ideas. And so we each have 10 minutes to put a big idea out into the world. It's a lot of fun, and it does actually make a difference. So I did one recently. I had a big idea that every library needs a caregiving department. And this morning I talked to a library that's interested in creating something. It's not going to be a department right away, but it's creating a caregiving corner in the library. And hopefully it will move into something bigger, but that's where we have to start. And then the family emergency planning sessions that I had mentioned. So here's what graduates of our consultant program say. Oh no, actually this is feedback from our events. This is what people say about the events. I just thought it would be helpful for you to see. I do ask for evaluations after the events, and this is what typically is the feedback. So when you're part of the events, what's so great to know is that these are well-respected events that are well-attended, that will really look good when you're putting yourself out there in the world and say, I just gave this great presentation for this event. I want to do it for your event. That's what's nice. When you participate in events and you create a workshop, you then have a workshop to do at other events. And so participating in our events is a little nudge for you to do that. So one of our consultants received a grant through her local area agency on aging to deliver the Caregiving Years presentation throughout her region. So she is on her second year of receiving that grant. Last June, we also did a panel discussion around systemic racism and its impact on a personal caregiving experience. I organized the panel. We had consultants and we also had a physician. Attendees to the program asked for that program to be delivered in two different separate events. One was at the USC Gerontology program and the other one was for the National Association of Healthcare Advocacy. So several consultants have done things as ambassadors, global ambassadors. I was one, as well as Pat Egan. And then our consultants are regularly quoted in articles about the caregiving experience. And one of our consultants participated in a Facebook Live discussion that was moderated by Kaiser Health News. So in addition to those events that I talked about, I do try to launch pilot programs. So we have a care coach program right now and a training program for family caregivers. The care coach program provides 3 months free support through text or email for family caregivers. And the Certified Family Care Manager program is a training program for family caregivers. So we provide training on hands-on care, coping strategies, modifying the home, managing family dynamics, organizing your team. The certified caregiving consultants are instructors in that training program. So you might say, I love this. Budget is tight. So think about checking with your church to see if there's some agreement you could reach with them. They maybe offset some of the costs of the tuition for the program, and then you volunteer to help family caregivers in your congregation. You could check with your employer to see if your HR department will reimburse this kind of training. And then you could be the unofficial support for other employees in your workplace. And you could check with your social service agency. Just some ideas for you. In addition, you could also look at PayPal credit. We do have a payment program, but you could also see if PayPal credit will work for you. You could defer payment for 6 months if you qualify for PayPal credit. So I'd love for you to join me as an advocate, facilitator, a specialist, a consultant, an educator, or in one of our packages, which includes the Sage Giving program. So here's my contact information. I'd love for you to reach out to schedule a time for us to talk one-on-one. I'd love to learn more about your goals, your vision, and how our training programs can help you make that a reality. So there's my email address. Send me an email. Let me know days and times that work for you for a phone call. I'm flexible. I've talked to individuals who are interested on a Sunday morning, on a Saturday afternoon, early on a Monday morning. So I'm happy to be available at your convenience. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for your interest too. I'd love to have you enroll in a program that's right for you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.